Good morning and welcome to today's live show. One night I'll get some great sleep. One night I'll get some good sleep. You know what I mean? So today I didn't even want to turn the camera on. I'm like, I gotta just charge my phone and sit and chill and let's just look at charts today. We don't need any distractions, not my beautiful face or anything like that. But we're gonna get into some technical analysis for the SPY Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, NVIDIA, AMD, and Meta going forward. Keeping a close eye on GME and AMC today because of the probable thing with the T35 settlement. We'll have to see if that actually comes to fruition. We'll see. There's been a lot of manipulation in the market, and so that's why I was overall mainly talking about these signals for AMC and GME. Sure, I hope it pops off. That would be great. But as of right now, what do we see? We see NVIDIA dropping down to lower levels, so that play really working out for me at this point. I'm going to pay attention to any kind of rig move to the upside from this area. But as we look over at AMC and GME, AMC did start to curl up. This is a 5-minute chart. We need to pull up a 30-minute. Did curl up on a 30-minute, but you see it needs to go positive now. So step 1 is done. Step 2 is go positive. And then I would say step 3 is make sure that 2 hour is able to rotate up and go positive next. That would be the big signal there. GME, same thing. I mean, 2 hour needs to go positive here, so we'll pay attention to that going forward. But thank you guys for being here. Make sure to smash that like button as you come in, and we'll hopefully give you guys a little breakdown towards the end of this stream. That way you can look at some stuff into the end of the day. It should be a crazy, crazy end of the day, so we'll pay attention. Really, the important part is going to be maybe the first hour and then the last hour of the day, the usual stuff, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull up some other charts here on my other screen. Have those up and ready to go. There we go. All right, we got these up on the other screen. Noticing the SPY dropping down to lower levels, so the levels to pay attention to this morning for the SPY, pretty big range all around. And actually, NVIDIA has a huge range. By the way, NVIDIA could go all the way down to like 125 today. That's a big, big range. So we'll pay attention to it. But for now, with the SPY, you want to pay attention to, well, downside, because we're almost there already. We want to look at 544.59 to the downside, and then 549.41 to the upside. Okay, that's going to be important there. And then the Qs over here, we just want to pay attention to, well, this isn't really breaking down, right? This isn't really breaking down, so we should pay attention to both at this point. 486.59 to the upside, and we have 476.35 to the downside. So those are the two areas that I would be paying attention to for the Qs. Right now, it says, hey, I'm in a 2 hour pullback. Okay, it says I'm in a 2 hour pullback, but if this 30-minute rotates up at any time, hey, we can see an upward move. Maybe when we want to get out of these moves and then come back into them by the end of the day, we'll pay attention to this. But right now, the SPY breaking down to lower levels, so we have to pay attention to the SPY in 544.59 for the day. I think that would be very, very important going on today. Here we go. Good morning. I just slept like hell and my phone's like pretty much dead, so no camera today. That's okay though. That's okay though. We're still looking at stocks. We're still looking at stocks. That's good. Marvin, hello. Scott, Q, welcome. Polar Bear in here. I love the name Polar Bear. God, I love polar bears. Why does Polar Bear Man sound like Man Bear Pig or something like that from South Park? Dave, welcome to the channel. First one in today, Dave. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's kind of click through here and just see what's going on. Apple, we're seeing a bounce with that. This is one that I was talking about. See that 30-minute? I really felt that was going to cross up. Maybe we want to make some kind of head and shoulders here. Tesla, this one here could cross up as well. We'll pay attention to it. The 2 hour, I believe, already crossed over, so we could just continue to get that 2 hour pullback. We'll see what happens with that going forward. Amazon saw a big move. Okay, so this one with the divergence down here for the double bottom that we mentioned, the 2 hour curled up and it is still going. It is still going. So we'll pay attention to some upside today. See if there's any kind of resistance at these levels. I might go even look at the daily expected move for this, because of the daily expected moves for all of the stocks that we cover on this channel are over on Patreon. They're there right now. They're posted. I posted them last night. And for Amazon, I'm going to tell you right now, it can head a little bit higher. It can head a little bit higher. Sorry, Bruce is playing with his bowl. NVIDIA, obviously, breaking down. 2 hour pullback was what we were talking about. Remember, I still managed my risk. I'm playing with house money now. I have no risk in this whatsoever. So any money that I make from this today is good money, right? It's like free money pretty much, because I played it very, very well. Now, what are we noticing here with AMD? Well, this did cross up, but is it positive yet? It's not positive yet, so we have to pay attention to one thing. That would be the 30-minute crossing over right here. You got to pay attention to that. If it rejects, we want to head higher. Okay, awesome. Pay attention to my daily expected move there for AMD, maybe the weekly expected move as well. Meta was one that really looked like, hey, 30-minute rejection there, so good little lower high. And we could see how the 2-hour just beat up. This is a great one to pay attention to because the 2-hour got close to the center line. If that curls up, that does say test these highs, maybe even go make a new one. Microsoft, what are we noticing here? Well, it's holding up a little bit better, got a small 2-hour pullback. So we want to look at a 30-minute, and that crossed up at the end of the day. So this, as of right now, Microsoft is saying, hey, I could go positive. I'm very close to going positive. Very good contrarian bullish signal. If that flips back around, we got to be careful with it. Google went positive on the 30-minute, but the 2-hour did pull back, and this one has been very wonky. You see how wonky it is? So this is one that me personally, when I see stuff like this, and in price action like this, MACDs like this, I just say I'm staying away from this one. I'm not trading this one. Netflix telling you, hey, I'm in a 2-hour pullback, but we know that if the 30-minute curls up at any time, there's going to be more positivity for Netflix. I think it's funny that they are pretty much doing every strategy that AMC is doing. They're making popcorn now for stores. They're going brick and mortar and some stuff. I think it's just hilarious. Speaking of AMC, 30-minute did go positive, so you need, or 30-minute did cross over, contrarian bullish signal. You got to spread this out a little bit. You're still a little bit far away from that center line, so you need to go positive in order to see a big move. You need that 2-hour to cross over. GME, once again, trying to go positive this morning. See how the resistance is coming in right on this trend. All right, let's see if that curls down, maybe curls back up, creates some kind of point of divergence early on in the day. We'll pay attention to it. SMCI, this one here, started to break down dramatically. Right here, it said, hey, there is no reason for upside now, and boom, the momentum has taken over and we're seeing it drop off. Look at the 2-hour here, looking like we're going to get some kind of pullback. Now, a lot of the time when stocks break through an important zone, they test inside of it and then want to head higher. We'll pay attention to that. But if this starts dropping down for a more dramatic pullback, we got to pay attention if things start to go negative. That's very important. Mara starting to drop off early on in the day, and when we talk about Mara, we got to talk about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin just keeps curling over on a 2-hour. So this is where 2 hours will bite you in the butt, and this is where, you know, when you see daily signals, you gotta follow the daily signals. Okay, so we have the double top up in here, we mentioned it, and then boom, that thing did confirm right on this bar right here. So from this 69.2K, from then on, you would say it's pulling back, right? The momentum is shifting down. Now it's going negative. That's not a good sign, but if this turns over at any time soon, that could be a good thing. As of right now, though, it's not even close to doing that, so it's really wanting to break down to lower levels. Are we seeing anything on the 4-hour? Well, you kind of are. You're seeing this divergences build up down here, so if the 4-hour can ever catch a bid, that might be a good sign for Bitcoin, but like, once again, this looks very wonky. It doesn't look the clearest to me. I'd like it to be smoother. You see how it's choppy in here, choppy in here, choppy in here. I just don't like that. I would like it to be smoother. I'd like it to be easier. So I would more so say if the daily rotates up, hey, we got a chance to beat these highs, right? But as you go more and more negative, that chance of beating those highs gets a lot lower. So we'll pay attention to that. I did notice Palantir early on starting to break down, okay? So this one did get pumped up for a little bit. And what are we noticing up here? Well, it looks like the 2-hour could see some kind of pullback right now. That's kind of what it looks like to me. I don't necessarily want to say, hey, yeah, this is great divergence or something like that. There's really not great divergence here. So the momentum is still up. You're just probably going to see a 2-hour pullback, and we'll see what happens with Palantir going forward. Volatility did pop up higher. That's to be expected. Okay, volatility popped up higher. The main signal for volatility to pay attention to is the weekly chart, seeing if that thing can turn up at any time, start to close above these, start to close outside of this trend. That would be a good sign, because look at that. You have a bunch of divergence down here, which means the volatility can come in any week now. This can start to come in. So we'll pay attention to that. What are we seeing on the 30-minute as of right now? Well, we popped up to much higher levels. So if I was reading into the MACD of the VIX, and I trade this a lot. I trade volatility a lot. I really like volatility. trading that back and forth. What do we notice? Well, right now it's saying, hey, the 30-minute might drop off. So we actually might see positivity come in at the open. And I think that's why it's important we go watch the SPY right away, because look at the SPY dropping down to lower levels while volatility is kind of saying, hey, I kind of want to pull back. So we'll pay attention to that. But just notice overnight, again overnight, what did we see? More selling at this point. You can't even say this is insider selling because the market's dropping, right? You would just say this is more selling. But I want you to notice that there are 2-hour divergences forming, right? 2-hour divergences forming at these highs. You're starting to taper off. If we start to turn over right here, maybe we do see some kind of bounce in the market. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that going into next week. But as of right now, you're breaking through 105.65. Like I said, once the dollar gets high enough, it starts to just take over and the stock market starts to drop, right? We want to see the dollar going up, stocks going down. Right now, you're starting to get that right now, but throughout all this period, we've seen the dollar go up, stocks go up, the dollar go up, stocks go up. So right here, you're now finally seeing, hey, the dollar's going up and stocks are going down. All right, we opened up on the SPY here, so let's just point this out real quick. Let's pay attention for a moment. Maybe even look at NVIDIA. Look at that thing dropping down to lower levels. And I'm going to probably get out of that position already early this morning. All right, there you go. Out of the position already, just making my money because it's down towards my 125 target there. This is just above the weekly expected move, and that's a daily expected move. The implied volatility for NVIDIA today on a daily scale. That's important to know. This is a daily scale. The implied volatility for NVIDIA today was 80.5%. 80.5%. So there's some big volatility in here, and that could mean there's bigger swings, and right now it's to the downside. So I'd pay attention, see if the SPY is able to build back up above this line right here. That's one thing. The Qs are holding up a little bit better, but for NVIDIA, this is pretty much as low as you're supposed to get for the entire day right there. Pretty much right above 125 was the level to pay attention to, if I'm looking at it correctly. Let me see. Yeah, pretty much you stopped right before the daily expected move. So we could get a rig move up here, and we'll pay attention to that. If the 30-minute crosses up at any time, hey, we can see more positivity from NVIDIA. We'll pay attention to the PCC as well. Alrighty, SPY bouncing, VIX going down, TLT bouncing. XLU tried to bounce, Tesla trying to bounce. A lot of stuff trying to bounce this morning. Ooh, Apple. Okay, Apple did curl up there. Apple just curled up on a 30-minute. Now it is in negative territory, so I just want to point that out to you guys real quick. Apple did turn up on this 30-minute, but it needs to go positive still. So maybe at this point we could see some kind of divergence like we did over here. Usually when you turn down, if this thing goes really positive, usually you will see another point of divergence. You'll see like a big move, and then we'll see something like this happen. So we'll pay attention to that. We have to pay attention if those are actually forming. But as of right now, SPY gapping below the daily expected move, by the way, is usually not a good sign. Usually that's a sign like, hey, we could use it as resistance to actually head lower. So just pay attention to that. But right now, with how the market is, I would highly assume we're going to see some kind of bounce from the SPY. We'll see. It kind of depends on if this whole AMC and GME thing is going to keep happening or going to happen today. But we'll find out very, very soon. SMCI down 2%. Mara down 4%. My goodness, crossed over. Where was the level right here? Okay. At 12:30 yesterday, we saw this bar right here. This bar right here said no reason for upside, and that's a 30-minute pullback right there. So there you go. Let's see if that 2 hours rotating back over. Something about the 2 hour real quick is it's very close to negative territory. So just be cautious if this thing starts to confirm down. But as of right now, that has not happened. That has not happened. So NVIDIA looks like we're starting to see that bounce back up. Let's look at it on the short time frames here, maybe even a 5 minute for a brief moment. You still do have another point. You have multiple point divergence down here on a 5-minute, which can rotate up a 30-minute. Once you get a triple divergence or a multiple point divergence, you have to start to pay attention because the 30-minute can rotate back up. But that's just, it can. It's not saying it is yet, right? So we have to pay attention to when it is actually rotating back up. How's everyone's morning? I gotta chug some coffee. Let's sit here and watch NVIDIA for a second while I chug some coffee. How big of a bounce do you expect? I'm already out. Yeah, I don't know if I should, I'm not like expecting too much. I just think that if they really wanted to rip people's money away, they would take the SPY and they would at least do something like this and then make it come back down, right? Kind of convince people they were wrong about shorting and then pop this thing higher and then see it come back down. So I'm still paying attention to this little zone right here for the SPY today. I think that that's a good area for the sellers to recommit because at this point we're seeing a bounce. NVIDIA, I think NVIDIA actually has an opportunity. If they really want to rig this thing, we can go all the way back up, honestly. So I'm just paying close attention. You need to give that coffee to AMC and GME and some Japanese mayo. Dude, I hope she makes me a Japanese egg sandwich today. That'd be so awesome. Maybe I should say it louder. Oh my god, I hope I get a Japanese sandwich today. That NVIDIA plummet hurt yesterday. Yeah, so this is where I said, I was like, here's where I'm going to take the second position. It's going to be cheap. Boom, I took it. Okay, I think I took it like while the bar was forming. So I took it while the bar was forming. And then right here, I just took profit on it because I saw the 5-minute divergences just in case. So I took profit and I left some runners. I just sold those runners this morning. So I was able to make some good money off of all this. So right now it looks like NVIDIA, yeah, it's to the downside, but you're pretty much almost oversold on the 30-minute and you're going down towards 125 where pretty much buyers will be lurking down there for the day. So you're at the daily expected move. That means NVIDIA is already down at this bar, right? 125.73, you're about 40, 50 cents away from hitting the daily expected move there. So you still can go test it. But at this point, I would just say, hey, well, if they really wanted to hurt people, they send it down to where they expect. Everyone tries to short it at that point, and then they send it back up to where maybe people don't expect it to go, which is all the way back up to the next daily expected move. So the daily expected move upside, you got some points left in for this one, right? You got you could go a whole like 6 points higher today from where we're at right now. Being talked about. Oh yeah, one thing, I did want to research this. Let me do some research real quick while you guys watch NVIDIA for a moment. Wanted to research something here. Okay, wait, we go over here, we go here. Okay. Okay. You go all the way over. Okay, cool. Interesting. Let me get back onto my charts here. Right, SPY, hold you up today. Cool. So yeah, now we're seeing the wonkiness here. We're seeing if we can pop up at some point. We got to see if this can curl up. Really, if you wanted to, you got to do 15-minute at least has to curl up, right? If you wanted to. But for the SPY, you see we're gapping below that. That is you know, we talk about this in videos sometimes, and it's finally happening. When you gap below a daily expected move, you can use it as resistance now to head lower. So this is actually a recipe for disaster, but it's also, since it's early on in the day, right, it's still a recipe for for some kind of bounce to get back into this zone by the end of the day. 68% chance that we bounce here, 32% chance we keep seeing something crazy. So this is an opportunity because you're doing it so early on for it to bounce, but it's also saying, hey, a lot of the time when you gap below these important areas, these important moves, well, then the market can't react and they could just send it lower. Do I think they're going to do that? I think they're going to rip it back and forth. I think they're trying to take people's money today, but that's just what I think. The stocks, the charts right now are proving like, hey, this is just dramatic downside, right? You're still in that 2-hour pullback, so getting towards that center line though, so maybe if that turns around at any time, we can pay attention to it. Volatility still screaming higher. We'll pay attention to it. What's the dollar doing this morning? Well, it gapped lower. That makes sense. So this just makes sense at this point. The yields are heading down while small caps are heading down. It's all fishy behavior all around. Maybe paying attention to this. I don't know if I've updated these ranges though for IWM. Let me go check before you guys look into those. Let me just update these in case we look at this later. Because that's going to confuse you. You're like, oh, it's by the weekly expected move. No, I want to make sure you have the right level 1. We don't give IWM very often. I just keep it updated on here. We just don't check it too often. I just like to look at it in case there's a trade set up. Did everyone else get good sleep? Because I'm jelly. All right, it's retail hour. Let's see what happens with this guy. Keep your eye on GME and AMC for me. GME looks like AMC. They're not breaking down dramatically, weirdly enough. But this is a little bit different than last time with the Ryan Cohen buy. It's a little bit different than last time because last time GameStop just started to gap up on this day, this T35 day. But AMC on this day, yeah, it gapped up, but it gapped up a couple days before, and you saw pretty much it go from like $12 to $18 back in the day. So really, it's like GME should be the one that really pops if the problem is happening, but it's behaving completely differently than last time. I'll look around on my other screen here. Ooh, Google strong move. Microsoft strong move up now. Meta, no. AMD, not really. Amazon starting to fade a little bit. And Apple fading its move too. God dang, Apple. How do you fade that move? That's a strong move and you just fade the whole thing. You just fade it by a whole, like, almost 2 points. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, what are you guys chatting about today? Yeah, my baby's screaming today. She's doing those excited screams. It's not bad screams. Like she's doing some good screams, right? She's excited. That's what it is. Alright, let's see if that turns around for a sec. I really think there's going to be maybe a rigged move for NVIDIA to go higher. That would make some sense to me, but we'll see. Trying to think if, like, confirmation of upside here, maybe we head all the way back up. We'll see. I don't know. That might be a big move for the day, but there are $3 trillion on the line. Dividend stocks, you got to research a bunch of them. One of the ones that I actually kind of like is UILD, like just for a cash flow thing for a little while. I think this is pretty good. So when you see a market bottom, or like you see this thing bottom and just like curl up, positive territory or something like that, right? Curl up, you could say, okay, this is a good buy. Let me hold it for a few months. This will pay you like pretty good. It pays you, I think, like 1% per month. So if you hold it for a full year, you can make like almost 12% per year. So if I was like needing cash flow or something like that and I wanted to do the dividend strategy, well, if you look back towards October where we bottomed, if you just bought this and held it till now, well, you would have made a dividend of 1% every time and you saw a little bit of upside. So this is one that I think is interesting. I haven't really played it yet, but you can make a little like 5% while also making 1% ever since October. So I don't know how many months that is, but that's probably about, 9%. So 9 plus the 5% you've made. Oh, pretty cool, pretty safe. It's just a covered call ETF. BK, which ones are you looking at? Because people want to hear about some dividend stocks. Let's go. Dividend stocks are good. Like, it means that they have profit and they're sharing those profits with their investors, right? I think that that's very, very cool. TAC. Ooh, it's a pharmaceutical company too. Does this actually give dividends? It does. Interesting. Dividend yield 4.33. That's not terrible. It's better than your bank probably. Well, and then you could say this one also maybe has growth opportunity, right? So maybe you wait for reversal signals and things like that, but a lot of the dividend stocks, you can still just do the investment on a monthly, because that would be like, hey, I'm gonna hold this for a while. Like doesn't AT&T give like dividends or something like that? Okay, 278. What's the percentage on this? See, 613 for AT&T, and cell phones, AT&T will always be around, right? So you just want to look like, is this a good investment type thing? And then you would say, okay, maybe I invest at these levels, I hold it for 12 months or something like that. You see it curl down way down in this area. Okay, you could have held that for, say, this amount of time, right? Say, even, what is that, 3 years or 5 years? You could hold that for 5 years or so and then just make your dividend money, and then you see that curl back down, you go, okay, not anymore, and then you reinvest, okay, for another few years, and you'll get the growth as well, which I thought was very cool. So stuff like this, like tech, I would say tech companies like this, right? AT&T is something that is pretty essential to how people live right now. But TAC, I mean, it's a pharmaceutical company, so pharmaceutical company is a little bit different, right? I used to have a whole dividend. Actually, I still have my whole dividend thing. Take a look for my list. Where's my list here? I haven't looked at these in a bit, but like, say, like Kroger, you would say this is one that's pretty important. Now it's not looking the best, right, from an investment perspective, but you would say in these downturns, that's when like dividends really can pay off. So that's something that I would look into. Like Kroger, it's very obvious why Kroger is good, right? Food, water, like grocery stores. Like, it's very obvious. A pharmaceutical company is not as obvious to what they're doing. A lot of pharmaceutical companies, or even just biotech in general, is waiting for FDA approvals and things like that. But it's just like, why not look at something that's very, very important, like a oil company that gives a dividend, like Kroger, a grocery store company that gives a dividend, right? Because if you look at Kroger, we can zoom out to here and just see what's the Kroger dividend. It's 2.31%. Hey, that's great. They at least pay you something. And then you see that curl up on a MACD into positive territory right here, and you say, okay, I'm going to hold this for, say, what is that? Say 4 years or something like that, right? I hold it for 4 years. I make the dividend money throughout the whole thing. I make 2% per year. And then also I see an increase of 247. So this is like a safer growth than, say, even a tech stock at that point. But this right now, ooh, that's not looking the prettiest, right? It's not looking the prettiest. It looks like we could go into, if you see Kroger going down, well, look, the last time it went down was, I think this was when we had Volmageddon almost, right? So this is the area where we started to have Volmageddon. So if this starts to turn down, you would say, hey, this might be a deflationary event type thing. And then and then 2020 really exploded this to the upside. So if you just kind of think common sense wise and say, oh, we just had a COVID crash. What are the most important things for people during some kind of crash where they have to be in their homes? Well, groceries. Okay, cool. Okay, let me look at some grocery stocks. What does that look like? Okay, monthly turned up right here, blah, 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 blah. But then around 2020, even if you bought in, say, the low of 2020, that was what, maybe like June-ish. Okay, cool. Well, from that area, you're still, even at this point, up 49%, and you're making dividend money in there as well. So that's more so how I look at it. Ooh, NVIDIA breaking down even lower. Ooh, not good, NVIDIA. NVIDIA dropped like that because the 2-hour wanted to pull back. NVIDIA dropped like that because at 10:30 yesterday, we saw a big drop and that crossed over and said we're getting a 2-hour pullback. NVIDIA dropped yesterday because the 30-minute crossed over and it never crossed back up. So around this area, you could have bounced. It didn't. It gapped lower. So at this moment, you would say NVIDIA pulled back because this crossed over and it needed a pullback, and that's what happened. And remember, I was saying 125. I literally said this a while ago, but I said this up here. And I said, this is where I'm going to start to scale in. Okay, I scaled back in right up in this area. That's where I got back in, right, with my second position. And then I let the money ride. And now I'm out of that position already. Trading like water. NVIDIA crossing on the daily? No way. It's close. Hold on, baby girl's crying. Let me go check. All right, we're back. She was a little sad. Shorted NVIDIA today, YOLO. Yeah, we'll see if that works out for you. If this daily keeps crossing over, well, then you got a chance for a bigger pullback. Just know that this is the area where, weirdly enough, this is the area where it should bounce from, actually. So for the week, we'll say for the week. Oh my god. Oh. Thank you. Yeah. Yay! We do. You guys, guess what she made me? I want someone to guess what she made me. It might be Japanese. Who knows? There might be Japanese mayo in it. Who knows? Maybe. I think bounce coming. Yeah, so this is the area where a bounce is a high percentage chance for a bounce, especially when we're only, what, 23 minutes into the day. This is an area where we actually have a good probability to bounce from. But we'll see. We got to see if that's actually going to happen, right? We don't know if that's going to happen. Right now, it's still saying downside, right? Nothing is telling us upside yet. Even a 15-minute, that thing is not telling you upside yet. NVIDIA weekly and the fool's hour. Exactly. You're hitting the weekly and you're outside of the daily at the same time. So this is something to pay attention to. Now the SPY breaking down even lower. So we'll pay attention to this, but notice the Qs, they're able to hold up. So is this really the most worrisome moment in the world? Probably not, to be honest. Probably not. Looks like volatility might drop off at any moment. We'll see. We'll have to see with this one, but it's starting to scale up dramatically. So don't think this has to go back down. But if I wanted to hurt the most people, I would like send the market higher, send volatility down, and then just swing that thing back up early on next week. We'll see if that's able to happen. But as of right now, let's see. Apple on the 30-minute was trying to curl up, starting to fade that move. Tesla was trying to curl up, starting to fade that move. Amazon starting to fade its move. A lot of moves starting to fade. And we'll see if NVIDIA can hold this market up for another day or two. I'm gonna eat my sandwich. I can't really tell you what to do, but I would say if you're stressed out and freaking out, it's probably not a good day to make a decision. Just being honest about that. If you're stressed out and freaking out, just pull up a monthly chart and be like, oh, let's make this simpler on myself. Is this a good time to buy anything in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. Usually the strategy that we hear a lot is buy low, sell high. It seems everything is pretty high. Now there are some stocks that are lower, right? There are some stocks that are lower that you could probably find out there that have been beat up for a little bit. You just got to go find those stocks. But as of this moment, if you're looking at NVIDIA and asking about that, it's like, yeah, you just want to chill a little bit and be like, hey, if I'm stressed out, it's kind of like the psychology of it is like when you're really stressed out and thinking, should I sell because you're losing a bunch of money? That's usually because you're supposed to be buying there. And then if you're, really stressed out to the upside because you really want to buy something and everything's super high up and it's hard to see because the prices are so high up, you're just like, oh, that's usually when you should be selling, right? It's kind of the opposite of what your mentality tells you. Me, I was like, oh, this crossed, I managed to trade. If that would have turned back up, okay, I managed to trade. I was willing to scale in 3 times with small positions. Awesome, I was able to make some money today. I didn't have to risk any of my money today. That was nice. Over health investment. See, this type of stuff is like not necessarily my forte, but we'll see. Ooh, wayo. Okay, that's a very powerful move. I mean, you broke out, that's solid. You're coming up into liquidity where you could sell off. 2 hour, yeah, there's not much I can say about this one. If you look at it maybe from like an investment standpoint, there's your weekly divergence. That was a weekly divergence saying, hey, something to look at here. Monthly, not enough time on that one to get a monthly chart going. So not much to say as far as trade-wise on that one. You're just seeing a huge upward move. Congrats, Kalani. A little quick 5 hundo. Pretty much the same for me over here. CTRA, Lisa? Ooh, some energy. Yeah, some energy stocks I think haven't been too bad to look at lately. So you want a better base. Yeah, you can V-shape, but you see how far down the 2 hour is? So the 2 hour is really far down. So anytime that just curls over, more negativity. As of right now, you're still seeing that bounce. You'd kind of like it to elongate a little more and then curl back down and then start to give you double bottom, start to give you some kind of divergence. As of right now, there's no real reversal signal here, and you don't even have divergences anywhere down here. So nothing is telling me the momentum is dying out. If we pull up a 30-minute, you'll see, hey, yeah, this was able to go positive. So if that keeps curling up, yeah, you'll keep seeing positivity. If that goes negative at any time, it's not going to be a good sign. As far as the daily scale goes, look at that thing. It's been wonky for a long time. So this is one that on the daily scale, I'd be like, oof, I might not want to look at this too much. Because that's some wonky price action. Also, if you're in some kind of range up here, you see the range you were kind of in, right? Upside, downside, you're kind of retesting that level right now. So you have to see if that's going to curl back down. But like I said, this one seems like another one that's not like the most clear, is what I would say. And that sucks. I hate having to say that to people. Like I do. But I'm just an honest guy. I'm not going to sit there and tell you there's something made up. But it just doesn't look very clear. If you pay attention to the right levels, maybe pay attention for investing, you can see something good. But GME is on the move down. Yes, GME is on the move down. So we curled back over on AMC, so that tells us downside is the most likely scenario here. It does not say upside anymore. Right? You need that to turn back around now. You need that to turn back around. Spicy and a wick there. That's not a bad sign. It's mainly just like, does NVIDIA recover, I think, is like, that's why I'm playing. That's why I'm like watching it. Yeah, 30%, man. Chewy, I was kind of looking at Chewy yesterday. Chewy looks like a simple, if there's more positivity, 30-minute crosses up, okay, test the high, go make a new one. Awesome. 2 hour though, what do we notice? We have divergence here. So if the 2 hour rolls over, you got to be worried about it, right? Because momentum's saying I'm dying out and I could cross the center line. You're gonna pay me around 3,000 a year? Yeah. Hey, that's pretty cool, Robert. Yeah, you have like, it looks like then with that, with those return, with that little dividend return, is that dividend return? That's pretty good. Do you reinvest or? It just looks a little risky, doesn't it, Josh? Just a little bit risky in this area. When the SPY and the Qs are at all-time highs again, it's like, it's just risky for the upside, I would say. Doesn't mean it can't go up. You kind of know how it would go up, a 30-minute would cross, but if 2 hour momentum takes over, it's a little worrisome. They fired a bunch of people on the board, AGRI. Growing systems, ooh. Interesting. See, like, I know a guy that does a strategy where, like, he'll just find stocks like this and he'll buy, like, 10 of them with, like, $5,000 each, like, every few years. And then if one of them pops off, he, like, makes a shitload of money. But this one here, you would say in the nearest practice, you got daily divergence. I'd say if that completes, you got a chance. But just looking at the stock, it keeps going down and down and down. But if they just made some changes to their board, some changes to the inner workings of their company, that might be a good thing. So you want to make sure to see if this daily can at least rotate over, and then you just manage the trade. I mean, this is divergence here. You got divergence all the way across the way. So I would understand wanting to look at something that is cheap is better than wanting to look at something that is expensive. I will say that. But you really want this to, for momentum, to really confirm that, right? I would want that to confirm. Weekly scale, we're seeing that curl up and up and up and up. That could just keep going down. You have to know your risk here is this thing looks like it might go to 0, right? So you have to know your risk there. And then you would just say, okay, but if this daily turns up, maybe it has a chance to go positive. That's all I would say about this one, but you have to be aware. This thing is going down dramatically. It could go to 0. That is a possibility. So if this can curl up though, then obviously if the daily is curling up and you see upward bars, it's not going to 0 anymore. So pay attention. All right, I'm gonna eat some sandwich for a little bit. What's the big dog doing? I just want to see if NVIDIA is the one that's gonna hold up the market for the whole day. But it's really not seeing too much it's not gaining too much. But it is retail hour, so we'll have to see. Roku did end up pulling back. I just wanted to see if the dollar was like dropping off this morning, but it seems like just keep going up. So SPY not looking too hot. XLU still not doing much. Apple not curling up. Tesla trying to curl up. Wonder if some random good news comes out and just across the board. Yeah, and that's kind of my point with like the whole thing about like everyone trying to call the moment. And I'm like, yeah, it's good to pay attention to T35, but I always, in my plan for what he is doing, when I thought about it, I was like, and then it's just if this works. If this doesn't work, I have another step that he did. He already did step 2, actually. So if today doesn't work and next week it doesn't work, then step 2 is already in place for July. And then if that doesn't work, I would do it more aggressively, shorter time frame. Step 3. That's how I have it written out, but I'm not, trying to discuss that too much. Because really, if we just pay attention to momentum, you'll be better off, right? It's like GME, if you really look out at it, it's like if the 2-hour crosses up, you got a good shot. What happened here? The 2 hours rejecting. AMC, if the 2-hour crosses up, you got a good shot. What happened here? You're not turning up. So if we look at it from just a momentum perspective, it's a learning time and saying, hey, yeah, this could curl up, but it has to actually curl up, right? It could do anything. Just join. Your NVIDIA must be printed. Yeah, I already sold it. Yeah, I sold it right away. 125 level when we were just even down towards it. I'm like, I think that they're going to rig this move one more time. I think that they might. So you notice that we can't close below that 125. So I just took profit right in here. Free money for me, pretty much. I didn't have to have any risk going into today. Very nice. Very nice. Much success. Yeah, everyone's talking about TradeStation. What's going on with TradeStation? What the hell's going on with TradeStation, guys? TradeStation isn't fetching prices. You're not even able to use your account, some people. Someone bought GME and immediately started having glitches. You can't execute any trades today. Wow. That's, again, wow, more problems when AMC and GME start to do stuff. That's crazy. AMC and GME problem comes to light, we just see everything start to break down. Oh, it's a mystery, but if you believe in it and you say, hey, I can make a lot of money with a little money, Josh, and you would just say, I always mention my friend, all he did was I explained him the situation. He goes, oh, so it's hard to time, so options are bad. I go, yeah, options are a little harder to do. And he just goes, okay, I'll just hold it. And he hasn't like mentioned anything since. He's just sitting there. He's not watching the stock ever. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna wait until I get an alert and set a sell at $100. I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's what he did. What was it, Uber? Uber was a good trade setup. How's that been playing out? Well, at least it played out very well. This is the one we said, the 50. It went above the 50. Damn, that's pretty cool. Solid. There's your little divergence down here. Okay, big pop. Ooh, if that rolls over though, negative territory, you might head down again. So let's look at a 2 hour. 2 hours by the center line. So it's kind of like if the daily rolls over, bad. If the 2 hour rolls up, good, right? That's what I would say as far as the momentum signals here. Solid. As of right now, this would tell me that it's actually more than a pullback on the 30-minute for NVIDIA. But for the 2 hour, you would just say pullback. Yeah. 2 hour just says pullback. It's not negative, so. Little baby squeeze. Wait, TradeStation's just not showing any info and not allowing people to trade? Bad day to quit drinking. I'm sorry. SMCI real quick. Yeah, see, this is still just now saying 2-hour pullback. Now, if you're not going to see that confirm, you're going to see the 30-minute rotate up very quickly. So just know that, see this 2-hour, you're getting excited. You see a red bar, you're like, it's going to pull back further. Well, you still have an hour and 20 minutes left in the bar. 2-hour bars, you really want to wait till completion a lot of the time. 30-minute, if this curls up, that bar most likely will not complete. What's OM? Outset Medical? This might have just been a 2-hour pullback thing. Yeah, you got 2-hour, well, you had 2-hour divergence up here actually that led to the downturn. Now you're seeing that turn back up, but it needs to go positive. You see how that's fading? That's because you're not positive. If you were positive, you could have tested the high, made a new one. It still can go positive, but that's a big, big fade. Daily still saying pullback, not confirming more upside. You had divergence on the daily as well. This stock right here is telling me at this 200 while it's up there, it's telling me there's more weakness in this stock as far as momentum goes, and you need more proof that the momentum is not weakening here. Sure, that's a big move. That's awesome, cool, but your signals still say weakness in momentum here. We'll see. We'll see if that 2-hour can go positive. I mean, I understand taking a chance on it, but that's just a big rapid move. So taking a chance on it, I get it. It's a bullish contrarian indication, right? That's what your MACD is telling you. Your RSI still has some room here, so it could happen. It's just not positive, and you don't have divergence down here or anything. And really, you might just be setting up some kind of wonky head and shoulders, some kind of liquidity grab at the high, and then they throw it down. So I'd really be looking and being patient, but for now, no, not 45. The 30-minute did go positive. That's a good sign. I wonder if you just get like a little 5-minute to pull back. See how the 5 minutes so cooked? I'd at least like to see the 5-minute pull back and then rotate back up and go positive. That could be a hint there's a little bit more positivity left. Amazon, you're fading that. NVDA, you're not doing a lot. That's so silly. Who like makes a platform and the entire platform just like doesn't work? Like, you're gonna make a platform that deals with money too, like. Oh, I'll tell you why it fell. The 30-minute cross down right here, and it said momentum was heading down, so it fell. I would more so like you to use momentum as why things are falling and not necessarily say, oh, this little piece of news that probably some people knew about before I did and sold out of their positions. Like, it's just fundamentals will always not be the best, in my opinion. What's the reason? Okay, so I'll tell you the reason real quick. Well, the 30-minute MACD, it actually crossed over here, and it said I'm at least going to pull back. And then around this area it went negative, and so that had some probabilities for a bigger drop. And then we went down to 125 because the weekly and daily expected moves are right in this zone. Cool. Like, I'm giving you a reason. It's just not the reason that you're looking for. It's not the answer you're looking for, but that is the answer. They could drop a stock for no reason because they want to. No, doesn't mean it's going to keep falling. Right now it says, yeah, I'm going to keep falling, but we know, if you've taken the course, you know, these weekly expected moves, these daily expected moves, that's all the option market priced in. So you actually have a 68% chance for a little bounce here. 125 was my target. 125, so 124.50 was technically the weekly expected move. I don't make my own targets pretty much. I just let the options market give me what target to use, by the way. Why would I make a target when I can calculate exactly the options market, the market maker's target every single week? You know? Like, why would I do that? Because look at this. Look at their target. Their targets are great, aren't they? Look, remember when back here I said, hey, I'm going to target right around this area I got in. And I said, hey, I'm going to target. I got in. And I said, hey, if this curls up, I'm going to scale in one more time. And I'm going to target 125. Now, why did I target 125? Because the options market told me 125. Perfect. Now, did I wait till it hit 125? I know the market's rigged. I made good money early in the day. No, I sold right here about 126. Why would I make up a magical number and say, I'm going to sell up here? If literally next week, they're like, the weekly expected move is right here. This is as high up as we expect NVIDIA to go next week. Be like, oh, sick, we went up here. Okay, well, that's what the market maker is saying is expected, so. Get in for a bounce. Yeah, you got to get some, at least maybe a reason to take the trade, but if a 15-minute can curl up, something like that. Yeah, I'm secretly roaring kitty. Yeah, that's what it is. Actually, roaring kitty's my dad. 100%. Scaled into TLT? Yeah, I mean, Miles, I've been looking at this and like, yeah, you can see some kind of breakdown, but as far as the weekly scale goes, like, it kind of says these are going to be inside trading bars. That's great. If this weekly never crosses over, I think that TLT eventually in the next few weeks actually might see a big move. At monthly, still positive with divergence, right down towards that 8250. So you just got to manage your risk, but you would say, like if this daily curls over, okay, that'd be a pullback, maybe even another opportunity if this thing turns back up, right? Turns back up. If it crosses over on the daily, boom, another point to, you know, possibly scale. That's kind of how you scale using the MACD, but for now, that weekly is positive, so I don't think there's anything to worry about. Well, the weekly is contrarian positive is the way to put it. The weekly is contrarian bullish. You still need that to be in positive territory, but you're close to doing that. Adventure time. I just really feel like NVIDIA is going to see some kind of wonky move. Doesn't anyone like feel that in their bones? I have nothing telling me that that's going to happen, but I just feel it in my huevos. I feel it in my huevos. You want to hold NVIDIA for 2 years? What is it? Oh shoot, this thing got rid of my lines, didn't it? 2 years, it depends. If the market's able to hold up at 95, we see that turn back around, you might not be able to hold it for 2 years. If you really want to hold it for 2 years, we most likely will see some kind of crash. You're probably going down towards this zone, which starts at about $50. So I'd say about $50, maybe at a low here, you say about $39. I think right there is where some big buyers will step back in. But that could take 2 years to head down, and then you might be 2 years to head down, and then like 6 months to recover, and then you see the signal, and then you go, okay, cool. It can take a lot of time. Yeah, I do think NVIDIA goes down to like $50, but it's just how long does that take to happen? I say that and people think it's like right away. Hey, Nacer, thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, I say that and people are like, oh, it has to go down by $50 in a sorry, I punched the mic. In a crash in the next 3 weeks. Like, no, crashes take time. Let's look at AMD. Like, we're talking about crashes take time. People don't even talk about this. Like people don't even talk about this. This is a pretty fast crash, isn't it? Dang, we went down 38% in 2 months. And right now we're down 29% in about 3 months. Oof, that's a very quick downturn. But I think NVIDIA will be more choppy than that. I feel like I should start buying groceries. If you didn't know, so this weekend I'm going to go protect my family shopping. if you know what I mean. And and I already got 4 cases of water just in case. And we got full groceries just in case. Which magically water was more expensive, which I think is already weird. No, that's just in case. I don't think anything really horrible is going to happen, but I think it could happen anytime. So I'm just like, hey, why don't I keep some extra water on hand? Because baby girl needs that purified water for her stuff, so we need that water. Yeah, I don't think it would surprise me either, just to see like what's going on in the market. We're seeing a bunch of puts come in. All right, dollar's gonna start to drop off. See what the SPY's up to. Oh, it's trying to build back up. Okay, the Q's not really dropping. Everyone's worried because NVDA dropped. And toilet paper. Well, my wife's a couponer. She was like an extreme couponer. So we just have like, this was before I even like met her, she was couponing. So she just like, when I have to move all her stuff around, I always see, I was like, I forgot you were a couponer one time. Like, and she's very good at it. So it's very cool because we just have like 20 things of detergent. We have like 60 toothbrushes. We have like 20 packs of toothpaste. We have like probably like at least on hand 5 packs of toilet paper at all times. I'm like, shit. And then it's funny because like if one of our friends is like, man, I gotta go get laundry detergent or something, we're like, do you just want to come over and buy a laundry detergent for like $3? And they're like, oh, sick. I'm like, yeah. Like that's the thing. Like really, I want her to coupon actually a little bit more because that's currency. Isn't that crazy? Like stuff that you get, like stuff like laundry detergent, water, deodorant, all things like that, that's more currency than like technically our dollar really is. Like it's more real money than the dollar at this point. Very funny. Doomsday preparation, not really doomsday. I think more like we might have to prepare for like possible civil war is my opinion, but am I saying like, oh, something awful is gonna happen? No, I'm just a just in case kind of guy. I don't want to be the guy who has a daughter and a wife and something bad happens and he's just sitting there shitting his pants and trying to scramble, right? That's it. He's putting everything on it because he thinks it's going to 2,000. I sold everything. Yeah, someone mentioned how like my mom, who never has bought a stock in her life, bought 100 grand worth of NVIDIA yesterday. And that literally was like 3 days ago that someone tweeted that. I think that's maybe a troll, but still pretty funny. Apple, you gonna go up yet? See, this is the shit part about days like today. It's like they just gap it lower, then everything just sits. It's so annoying. Yeah, gas prices go up again. Oh, well, I mean, maybe, you know, maybe we see some stuff start to drop. I mean, we could look at like oil or something like that and just be like, okay, okay, okay. We got some divergence going on here. We got some divergence going on here. Now, the only sketchy part is like, they're just, you know, pretty much Biden's just forcing us into World War III. Classic. And then, so that can mess with the oil prices and gas prices, all that kind of stuff. We have that going on. We've got just like we're gonna send these people who don't even know if they're a boy or a girl to war now. I just think it's just an awful time. I feel bad for them having to go because like that's gonna be just awful if they have to do that. But he's like quietly sending troops. Do you guys see the video from New Orleans? 471 target in play. The Qs didn't break the zone. The Qs have to break through 476. They're holding up. So that just tells you the tech stocks are going to hold up the market. I mean, it depends on what you're saying, Alexander. You would say this. I want you guys to stop thinking like, can I make a bunch of money? And just be like, is this a good trade setup? right? Here was the good trade setup. This is what I took. It fell down. Then I got out of everything that makes me break even right here. I broke even right here and I left the runners. So it's just free money if this thing goes down. And if it goes up, I have no damage to myself whatsoever. It's just house money at that point. Sure, it's like an opportunity cost type thing, but I think it was worth leaving the runners. Okay, I take profit here. Then I get to make profit, right? But you need to stop thinking like, is this the sell-off? Because you can see a sell-off on a 5-minute, you can see a sell-off on a 30-minute, you can see a sell-off on a 2-hour, you can see a sell-off on a daily. What kind of sell-off are you asking pretty much right now? That would be the better thing to say. Or you say, right now, what are we experiencing? We are experiencing a 30-minute sell-off. This is a 30-minute sell-off because you are in negative territory now, right? So and then I'll get to the daily here in a second, Alexander, but I really want to pick your brain on this. Do you see how because this went negative, now you could consider this a sell-off on the 30-minute? Now let's look at the 2-hour, and let's say I'll show you guys the video of the New Orleans tanks. Did you guys see that? Okay, we'll see. Now on the 2-hour, let's do the same exact thing. Is this a 2-hour sell-off? Alexander, I want you to tell me, based on the MACD, is this a pullback or a sell-off right now? You tell me. Is this a sell-off or a pullback as of right now? Pullback, perfect, perfect, you're getting it. And I'm not being condescending or anything, I'm just trying to do it like slowly because I know I do things really fast. Okay. So this is a pullback. Now say to yourself, maybe you don't have to type it in the chat, but just say to yourself out loud why this is a pullback on the 2-hour. And then I'm going to say it out loud for everyone else. Because this is not across the center line, so we cannot even consider it a sell-off yet, right? It's going down to my target. It's going down to our weekly range, and we're seeing that just pull back. This has been very bullish, even in this area that it's at right now on the MACD. Look how many times it has crossed up in that little area, right? If we go back in the past, you're going to see curl-ups in that area all the time. So this would tell me this is a pullback. Now that can turn into a sell-off, so I want to pay attention to something else. Maybe this is where I say the daily. If the daily is going to experience a pullback, notice that the 2-hour, when it started to experience a pullback, what was happening on the 30-minute? A sell-off. So if the daily is going to cross over and say pullback, that means that the 2-hour has a probability to sell off, right? And then this will still be considered a pullback. And then if that pulls back down to here, curls right back up, okay, you're going to see that on the shorter time frames. So do you see how you have to look at every category on the way up? No, yeah, my wife and I, when we do a garage sale, we sell stuff very, very cheap. We sell toothbrushes for like 50 cents or like buy 2 for $1, and they're nice toothbrushes and stuff like that. So. And then like diapers, she couponed for diapers as well. She couponed and did every single deal she could, and we ended up getting like all our diapers for, I think we got like all our diapers up until now paid for with like $50 maybe less than that. It might have been $30. Yeah, AMC, GME, we'll go look at those in a moment, but I just want people to understand how this works. Like on the shorter time frames, you would say this is a sell off. So if this is going to continue to sell off, well, then you would see the 2-hour really start to sell off here. And this is a sign of weakness here, but you're at a weekly expected move. So some kind of bounce most likely does come. So what I want to see is this. I think the next move will be very important. Yeah, I think we do. I think there's a probability because of where we're at that we see some kind of bounce by the end of the day. That doesn't have to happen, but I already made money in this trade, so I'm not going to try to force anything here, right? Now, if I'm going to see this bounce, I need to pay attention if that rolls back over early on. If that rolls back over early on, then that 2-hour might actually experience a sell-off, right? I can immediately make a plan for the future. And then also, if that starts to recover, go positive and just keep going, well, then that's going to keep going. All right, awesome. Then I can pay attention to it. Right now, from this area, by the way, when you get a sell-off on the 30-minute, the probabilities start to add more up to a retest and start to fall again, just so you're aware. No, I didn't post. I'm not posting NVIDIA trades in there because NVIDIA is one of the most rigged ones in the market. So it's too difficult. It's too difficult. Like I like to post very highly probable trades. And you notice I haven't posted a ton of them lately. I think the last one was Palantir and that one played out. And I even said, hey, yeah, make sure to manage your risk right here. So this one did play out. That's a 4% drop from the entry. So this was a very, very good play. Now you see it turn back up. You say, okay, this isn't the moment for more downside. Where do you research weekly expected moves? JS, I make them myself. But you can literally, guys, you can try to do it yourself. It took me a little while to get the right timing for the implied volatility and things like that. You'll see people with different numbers than me because they're using different implied volatility. I figured out my best ones, and then once I figured that out, that's when like I started to do a much better. So, I mean, you can pretty much just type like yeah, so it'll tell you if you just type it and it'll say, how do you calculate? If you just type calculate stocks expected moves, implied volatility, it'll say, how do you calculate expected moves using IV? The first question, you pop it up, it gives you the equation. But there's a little more to it than just like type it in and you're done. I thought it was just type it in and you're done. It took a little bit more work than that. You had to figure out the right timing of things and stuff like that. So in the course, though, I do show you how to make an expected move using Robinhood or anything that you use using Robinhood. I used my fun account to show you how to do it. It's just usually with the Robinhood method, you might get a range that's like this for the week. So it'll just be a little bit worse, right? It'll just not be the exact correct move. So that would convince you like here, you're really outside of the move at that point when we know, hey, this was more outside of the move at that point. So, but yeah, you can literally just type it in. I'm not hiding that at all. I want you guys to learn. I want you to be successful. If you want to try to do it yourself, I respect that. That's awesome. I give it away on Patreon for the stocks that I cover, and I give you a way to do it in the course. A way to do it in the course that's very simple. You don't have to do like any calculation. It takes like 30 seconds to do on a Robinhood, or you could do it on Webull. You could do it on any platform that pretty much gives you the options chain and has the implied volatility right there for you. Yeah, so Jeffrey, and I've had someone come in that has used Thinkorswim to find those expected moves, like just what they give. And they've said multiple times that mine are actually accurate. Mine are more accurate than Thinkorswim. So you could still use Thinkorswim to do the calculation. You could still use Thinkorswim to do it. But at that point, I would just say, you want to be pretty precise with it. But if it's working for you, then awesome. I'm not going to tell you it's a bad thing because I haven't personally used it. I just know that someone came in right away and was like, yeah, Thinkorswim's not as accurate. Swing high, swing low. Well, what time frame are you thinking, John? PLTR will hit 75, and I think it could eventually. I'm not saying Palantir is a bad company by any means. No. It's experiencing a pullback right now. I don't think Palantir is bad. After this drop, you wouldn't say it's mooning right now. You need this to turn back up. Right here, you'd say, oh, that's going to moon. Now you're saying, okay, now it's not. Now if it turns back up, you'd say, okay, it's going to moon, right? Oh, 5 minutes. So it's very hard to do swing high, swing low on like a 5 minute. If you can really space it out for yourself, because it'll trick you a lot. 5 minute behavior is very, very like, it's a little tricky because you'll see moments like this, right? You'll see moments like boom, boom, boom. And then you go, this is the high. And then you get this little bounce here and you're like, wait, is that a higher low? And then is this a lower high? Oh, we gapped down. Like it's more confusing. So I personally just do 30-minute charts. So I don't want to tell you 5 minute because I'm not the best 5 minute guy. I don't trade based on 5 minute charts pretty much ever. Sometimes to find an easy position, but really with 30 minutes, it would be, okay, high of day, low of day. Did we ever beat that low of day again, like early on? And then did we curl up next, right? So did we curl up after creating this low? Yes, we did. Upside. Okay, you'd say, high here. Oh, well, we swung up one more time. This is where your 5-minute would help you out, maybe telling you, hey, high, low, okay, upside, swing high now. And then you see that start to break down. So as of right now, technically, this is your low for the 30-minute, right? This is technically your low for the 30-minute here, and this is your high, right? So if this wanted to at any time curl back up, this would be your new low, and you got to look for the next high. But the 5-minute, I just don't want to go into a 5-minute because I'm not going to be someone who sits here and acts like he knows everything. I'm not me, Kevin. I'm not me, Kevin. I'm not going to convince you that I know everything when it comes to a 5-minute chart. I'm just going to tell you 5-minute charts have a lot more sporadic price action. You can convince yourself of things a lot easier. You mentioned things like we and retail, because we're retail technically. At least most of us in here, I assume, are retail. Why does it differ so much in percentage? If you're just looking at the percentages here, well, also you have to understand that the SPX, if you go to an hourly chart, you have to understand that the SPX, actually, I think maybe like a 15-minute will show this a little bit better. So if you look here, the SPX actually goes, it should, at least you get a few extra bars with like a 15-minute, I believe, but it should. Usually the SPX has like more time in it than the SPY. But also it's like this is the ETF, right? So the ETF can trade differently. It's kind of like bonds, right? TLT can trade differently than the actual bond. SPY can trade differently, barely, than the SPX. Because the SPX is the actual index, this here is just an ETF. Right, this is a tradable ETF. But the SPX actually, it's just a 1-for-1 ETF usually, but the SPX, they can trade differently. And the reason that they could also trade differently is because of the options as well. So like options can funk with the price here more than it will funk with the price over here. Great call out on it. Yeah, I did make money off those puts. I told you guys I was going to start to scaling right here. I go, once I see stuff like this, once I start to see this, I go, okay. Now's when I pay attention. Like, if I know that this is rigged to the upside, I can wait to see a triple divergence, and I go, okay, this is the first crack showing. Now I want to see if that can get a little lower and then curl up. So what I think the opportunity here is, weirdly enough, I think that the opportunity is for it to do this. I think it's going to do this, bounce up, come back down, 30-minute divergence. We see one more curl up on the 2-hour. That way the 2-hour can get closer to the center line, right? It gets closer to the center line with that price action, and then it finally curls back up and makes another point of divergence that's very close to the center line. I think that's the most likely scenario. That would be the easiest trade setup, and that's the trade setup I would take. So am I going to play the bounce? No. Am I going to play the drop again? No. But if I see a 30-minute divergence, hey, I could say there could be a solid bounce there. Maybe I want to play that. Right? If it's by a weekly range or something like that, if I can find 5 reasons, boom, then we see a solid bounce, and then we finally get that actual lower high. I almost FOMO'd into buying the stock. You saved me. Hey, congratulations. You didn't get FOMO'd in. They didn't trick you. Yeah, and like I said, you could have got FOMO'd in at any time. It's just that was a time to pay attention, right? It's not to say this is like bad to trade to the upside. This is actually very good to trade to the upside. It's very, very bullish. It's very manipulated to the upside. So it's not like bad. But it's just saying, once you start to see triple divergence, you got to be like, oh, that daily chart could roll over here. The lower time frames can be confusing. Yeah, that's why I'm really trying to push people to look more so at monthly charts, weekly charts, and things like that, because it just makes your life easier. Like, John, what's a company you really like? What's a company that you use every single day? Like, think of a company you use every single day. What company do you use every single day? You're like, I use this company all the time. I use their products every day. Walmart. Okay, capture this uses Walmart. Now, Walmart saw a huge run-up, right? So Walmart's seeing a huge run-up. Look at that on the 2-hour. You want to talk about a setup? 2-hour not looking pretty here. So, but Walmart, if you look at it on a monthly scale, it's seen a big run up. When would you have been in that run up based on the monthly MACD, right? Well, the MACD told you right here, $49. $49, it said, hey, there's some upside coming. Oh, we get a bunch of upside. Now at the high, what are you seeing? You're seeing triple divergence on a 2 hour, which means the daily can roll over. So you can see a big pullback here. Okay, awesome. So that would tell me, hey, maybe I need to take profit on this position, right? That's what the MACD tells you when it's telling you the opposite signal. It's kind of like, why would you hold something when you're seeing a reversal signal to the downside? I don't even know. I haven't looked at Toyota. There you go. So Toyota, same thing on the monthly side. If you really like Toyota, this makes sense. Hey, we're in inflation and stuff like that. Awesome. Okay, July 2023, boom. All right, 48%. Awesome. This told you momentum was going up. Actually, right here on this bar. So 169. Now it's trading at 240, and now you're seeing that monthly curl over. What is going on in the near price action here for Toyota recently? Okay, so for Toyota. Okay, what did we see right here? A daily divergence. Daily divergence that never crossed back up into positive territory. Now you're negative, so you know that's a dead cat bounce. If that curls back over, if that goes positive, yeah, you can recover, but it didn't. So this would be, hey, on the monthly scale, I need to take profit on my position, right? Because this is a reversal to the downside signal. So if you're holding this long, then that would convince you on the MACD, hey, maybe I should not be holding the stock anymore. Your out was at 241, 241.25, 241 would say that. Do you see how like the bigger time frames, you can just, it takes a lot of time too. It's slower. You can slow down. You can look at it. You can think about it a little bit. Say, if I see this reversal signal, I'm not going to do blah, blah, blah. Now it's breaking down dramatically. So on the weekly scale, what's happening? Well, I see a pullback. So the thing about investing is it's like, well, if this isn't a positive trend on the weekly scale, if that just curls up, hey, there might be more positivity left in this move. As of right now, Palantir is overall seeing the pullback, so this didn't confirm the next high. I know people were very bullish on it, and I was like, yeah, it could go up there, but it hasn't confirmed anything, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say it will, right? I'm not going to say that's the positive option right now, the most likely scenario. I talk about most likely scenario, right? And I go, I can't say that it going up is the most likely scenario because this isn't turning up. So it was turning up, now it's starting to fade, right? So if we look at a 2 hour though, what's happening right now? Well, right now it's just now saying 2 hour pullback. It is just now saying 2 hour pullback. So that tells me maybe I want to wait until the price action kind of fizzles out a little bit and turns back up, and I see something like that, and this goes like this, and I see that happen. Then I go, okay, now there's more upside potential, right? That's all it is. It's just thinking very simply. If you can break these things down very simply and just use the MACD correctly, you should be good. Yeah, John, and I think, John, a thing to do there is just say, don't let them eat your money up with short time frames. If you can just do the bigger ones, if you can, you know, if you're not 90 years old and you only got 10 years left, hopefully you make it to 100, right, if you're 90 in here, but if you only got 10 years left, then it's probably not a good idea to even be doing stocks at that point, right? You might want to more so just say, hey, I have a lot of time to build money slowly, right? What is Rolls-Royce ticker? People have brought that up before. Your swing trade got burned today? What were you swing trading on? Like an hourly? Because your swing trade said, right, even before the crossing, this bar right here actually, at 23.59 said go. And technically, if you're swing trading correctly, then this bar right here would say get out. These bars in here would say, hey, watch out for downside. So I don't know what the profit is there, but technically that's how I do things. So maybe I'll teach swing trading at some point, but right there, 9.25%. In how many days too? Like, in like a week, that's a very good return. But I'm sorry about that, Alex. That sucks. I hate when a swing trade goes wrong, but I like my 9 and I trust it very much when I do swing trading, especially on an hourly. Like on an hourly, it's pretty good. 30-minute, you might even be even better here. It's just wonkier to swing trade on a 30-minute. Usually if it's swing trading, I switch it to an hourly. Moving average settings, pretty simple, honestly. It's just, well, sometimes it doesn't want to do it for me. There we go. 950, 220. I only use an EMA for the 20. The other ones are all just SMAs. That's it. Oh, 15-minute and 30-minute. Yeah, it's difficult to swing trade on a 15-minute and 30-minute because you could see like a little spike down. So like here, like you see this cross up around this area. Actually, this one rode up pretty much the entire time on the 15-minute. This bar right here was really saying get the hell out. But then you might have said right here, you're like, oh, it swung back up, but it didn't cross on the MACD. That's why 15-minute, you want to at least use something that's a little bit powerful, more momentum. That's why I like the hourly, because the hourly never curled back up right here for swing trading. I'm still trying to get the hang of things, so trading small premiums. Hey, that's great, Alex. I'm glad you're like knowing, hey, I'm just practicing, and using some money to go through the emotional side is good. But usually I encourage like, yeah, practice with no money. Just kind of like look at stocks, say like I enter here, I exit here, paper trade. And then you have to use money eventually because it's just a little bit to see like your emotional side a little bit. There's a lot of emotion in trading. Actually, there's a lot of psychology in it. That's why I love it so much, actually. I'm huge into psychology. What's happening with these guys? Not a lot, huh? Not a lot, huh? We'll see by the end of the day. We've gotten the NVIDIA sell-off. Look at that. Has the 15-minute crossed up? Nothing crossing up for NVIDIA yet. Going back down to 125. 1 to 2K. Are crossed up on the weekly in 2022, 90 GBX, and never crossed back down. It's now 480 GBX. Google seems to be doing pretty good. Yeah, Google was one. Google was one that this morning, the 2 hour, right? It's just wonky though. That's why I didn't like it. Maybe it's cleaner on like an hourly, right? We'll say swing trade, right? So swing trade said yes. Okay, maybe a little early on this one, but this bar right here said yes. Okay, 177.50, boom, big move. If I see that big of a move that fast, by the way, I'm just a 2% move in one day at all-time highs, pretty much. Yeah, I'm not playing around with that too much. Netflix, did you curl up on a 30-minute? No, barely rejected. Rejected. Sell-off official? Well, we'll see. We'll see. You're holding below the daily expected move. That's a good sign. See how you got below it? You're not able to take it back right away. That's important. Now we have to see if people get too bearish too fast, right? And then we'll pay attention if the dollar starts dropping. But volatility is starting to drop off, actually. Like, if you really look at it, volatility is starting to curl over on the hourly. We could see a bounce soon. I think a bounce would be likely for today because there's a lot of money on the line. So I expected the price action to be a little bit more rippy, at least for NVIDIA, because NVIDIA today on the daily expected move, it had an 80.5% implied volatility for the day. So I'm expecting some big swings from NVIDIA. SMCI, yeah, it's going to be expensive. It's an expensive stock, first of all. But on the shorter time frames, what do you like to do a lot of the time? Well, you like to break through its zone, come back in it, and then see that go higher. So you would just say if this 30-minute confirms up, hey, more positivity. I don't know necessarily using a 15-minute because see how it's deep? It looks just like NVIDIA's pullback as of right now, actually. It looks like very similar. So I'll pay attention to it, but overall, I'm not trying to mess with any AI stocks because that's like the bubble. NVIDIA I was doing because I'm really just trying to find points of weakness and give it a try because you can use a small amount of money and make good money off of, you know, something like NVIDIA. It's just very hard to do. That's why I don't post it a lot. My theory on call and put ratios is dead on. Yeah, it's just a thing that I pay attention to. So I think what they're going to do is hold the market lower until that put call ratio goes up to like maybe a 0.95 or a 1. And then they'll be like, okay, calls are cheap again. Let's push NVIDIA higher, right? Or maybe they just do that right now. Maybe they get people excited to the call side, give us a lower high. That would be interesting. We'll have to see what they're doing with it, but it's not the best thing as far as taking a trade goes to do. But it is another data point to pay attention. Be like, oh, people are over leveraged to the put side in retail. I think that's good to pay attention to. My favorite trades get super good returns, but once I start using real money, I set stop losses too tight, so I get kicked out before I can. And well, the thing about that, Alex, is like, I say this all the time. I think stop losses are great. Do I use them a lot? No, my stop loss is myself. Because once you put a stop loss in, they see that order, right? The market maker sees that order. And most likely where you're putting a stop loss, like maybe 100 or 200 other people put a stop loss there as well. So they just take out that stop loss and rip it the other way. So I try to do mine very involved. I try to be very involved with my trading. But I don't think stop losses are like bad. That's just me. I've noticed that when I put stop losses in at a key level, they just take out my stop loss and then the real move happens, and that pisses me off. So I just started to do it myself. I am the stop loss, right? Uh-oh, what are you doing, AMC? GME, what are you doing? You sneaky guy. You're positive still. Don't turn on. Stop it. Stop it, GameStop. GameStop. How to read it? Well, the way that puts it, so if it's higher up, that means more puts. If it's lower, that means more calls. So that's why when this big move happened, we were very fishy about it, because this is what you see in a crash. People really try to short the market in a crash, like at the bottom of a crash. So the fact that we saw it, you know, at highs, we were like, oh, they may do a pullback, and then calls come in. Right, so then they maybe pull the market back, or they just made calls really cheap for the market maker, and then the market maker just sends the stock market higher. So this was a fishy move, but how you pretty much read puts and calls is it's like, okay, if you're above 0.95, then people are a little over leveraged to the put side. If it starts to get above 1, then they're over leveraged to the put side. If it starts to get below 0.8, then they're over leveraged to the call side. No, I don't like spreads or anything. I keep things very, very simple. I've tried to do spreads. I've tried to do butterflies. I've tried to do all this other stuff. It's just, I like to keep things very, very simple. If I already know they're trying to trick me in the market, then why would I do something that can almost like trick myself or overcomplicate things? If I see a reversal signal, hey, I'm short. And then if it turns back up, I manage the trade. If I see a signal that says there's going to be a bounce, I'm long. And if I see a signal that says it could turn back down, I'm out. Right? I keep it very, very simple. Find key levels of support and resistance. Key levels is a daily chart. Key levels would be daily, right? If you're looking for serious points of liquidity, right? So if we saw a pullback, where would we most likely go? We'd most likely go right in here, right? That's where we would most likely go. If we see a serious pullback here, we'd go right there, because that's where liquidity is, right? But the thing that I want to encourage you guys about support and resistance is actually just use the support and resistance they give you every week. If you're talking about a 2 hour, then I'm just going to use the support and resistance they give me every single week, right? So if this pulls back, right? If this pulls back, we see a pullback next week, or we see a pullback going into next week, and we see a bounce. And let's say we close today like here. Okay, then maybe my range will be in the same area. Let's say my range is in the same area. Well, then next week I can already think to myself before the week even begins, hey, if we do something like this, I'm going to create a divergence early on in the week. Let me look out for that. Let me look out for that, right? And then I could say this. Now, what if we don't do that? Okay, let me think of something else. Well, if I use the 30-minute and this range is pretty similar to the next week, okay, awesome. Then what would I want to look for to the downside if they're going to do something? Oh, well, what if this 30-minute bounces and then I get this to curl up and then that drops and creates a divergence right here? And we go down to the weekly expected move and it's right here. It's like, oh, awesome. Okay, so I can make plans based on, you know, what the price action landed at right now, right? Like, and ended at the end of the week. And then I can make a plan for the next week as if it goes up to here, I want to be looking at a 2-hour chart. If it goes down to here, I want to be looking at a 30-minute chart. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, Daniel. Okay, let's look at NVIDIA for a second. Let's see if that thing's going to turn back up. You see the good bar here so far, so now we're seeing some upside. Just paying attention though. We're not thinking anything crazy, but there could be some kind of bounce coming. For AMC, you need the 30-minute to cross back up. You got another point of divergence here. If you just look, you see the upward price action, or the upward move in the RSI. Okay, what do we see? Well, downward move in the price. So as of right now, you would say this does have divergence. It hasn't confirmed it yet. GameStop, what are we noticing here? Well, if it could reject, that'd be good. But if it starts to sell off, well, 30-minute curls down, bad things happen. So you still need this 2 hour to really curl back up and go positive. How do you know when to enter? When the MACD tells you. So whenever I'm telling you guys entries, it's just when the MACD is telling you to enter. It's saying, hey, you want to get in when it says, hey, momentum has a good probability to go up here, right? So even right here, these are all little opportunities, but they're not working out. This is a suppressed stock, it's a rigged one. But if we go look at, say, let's go look at, say, Netflix. Netflix has been choppy to the upside. So let's pull out to a 2 hour. Okay, we saw a pretty good move here. So let's say you missed out on a move, right? You're bummed out, you missed out on a move. A lot of the time people come in here and say, they missed out on a move, should I get in right here? Well, let's think about this for a second. There's always pullbacks after a big move. Okay, this is the pullback. So now you got this to pull back. Right here, you got a green bar. Right here, this is a green bar in positive territory saying there is a good probability that this stock goes up in momentum, meaning the price of the stock goes up. What happened after this green bar right here? Well, we went up. And we're in positive territory, so that move was strong, right? So let's do it again. Let's just look back. If we look back, we go back to this one. This is pretty much like swing trading, just using MACD only. Okay, right here, you had that confirmation bar right there. Swing trading, you might be in a little bit earlier, but right here, you got that confirmation bar. What happened after that? A strong move. Awesome. Right? That's just swing trading. 3.2%. Great. Now down here is a little more complicated because you got a rejection divergence. But if you can pay attention to that rejection and you see that cross back up, maybe you look at a 30-minute or something like that, or probably an hourly has it pretty smooth down here. Okay, look at this. Okay, so there's your hourly divergence. Boom. This right here, this little green bar said, hey, there is a good probability that this goes positive. It's not yet, so it's a little less likely than if it was up here, but it has a good probability because it is very close to the center line and you have the momentum dying out on an hourly chart. Awesome. Okay, maybe it's like, hey, take a stab at it with a smaller amount because I'm going to see a big move. Boom, you ended up seeing a big move, total V shape. So do you see how I can make it very, very simple on myself? Now, I've been worried a lot lately, so have I been trading a ton lately? No, I'm just worried that something could break in the system. We got too many things going on geopolitically for me to be like really, really confident in the stock market. So I've been really sitting on my hands a lot the past couple of weeks. I've still taken a few trades. Last week, I pretty much broke even. And then this week, I was able to make some money. So that NVIDIA play played out for me. Q's range. Yeah, the downside move for the day is 476.35, 486.59 to the upside. And we're very negative on the 15, so not necessarily want to look at 30-minute. If that crosses up, hey, positive territory could be there. We could see a big move, right? We could see a big move. There's some volatility in the market for today. But I think they got to convince people to go to the put side to send this thing higher. The VIX is starting to drop off, saying 30-minute pullback, so I really just want to see if NVIDIA sees a pop because I think that's what keeps the market up. Yeah, that's not good. What did Laws say? 2K day. I think I'm going to call it weekend. Great stream as always, Lucas. Enjoy the weekend. Hey, Laws, congratulations. Good win, buddy. Nice job. Look, are you planning on going long on NVIDIA at the bottom? At the bottom of a day, at the bottom of the crash? Probably, because if they manipulated it once, I mean, it's still an AI company. It still could be good. It's just they have no revenue. Like, who is purchasing? Like, what consumer is purchasing their AI right now? What consumer? Like, really? They are too dependent on other companies giving them revenue, and those companies need to make revenue themselves, like Microsoft. They have no direct-to-consumer product as far as AI goes, unless they start to put it in their, like I have an NVIDIA, what's it called? Graphics card. Like if that started to change, if things started to go, cool, okay, awesome. But is that even out there yet? What comes after this huge expiry? Does it mean possibility of a drop next week? Yeah, a lot of the time there is some rebalancing going into next week after a big OPEX, because they will see big price to go up. Okay, their options expire, and then they'll start to rebalance their books and things like that after an options expiration. So there is an opportunity for some kind of bigger drop coming out throughout the next couple of weeks. And we got to see how the AMC and GME thing settles. But you want to pay attention because you just want to see if the signals are telling you those things, right? Those are all assumed things, and we really shouldn't assume anything. What we should say is if NVIDIA curls up on a 30-minute, hey, I think the more likely scenario at this point is a lower high. I think that's the more likely scenario here. But that doesn't mean I'm going to short it at some random place up here. I'm just going to wait for this 30 minutes to curl back down, and then I think we continue our 2-hour pullback. OPEX is options expiration. So OPEX is, people usually say OPEX when it's around like the third, this one. So this options expiration has a lot of like leaps and things like that behind it as well. So pretty much this options expiration, people will say OPEX when it's like a bunch of money's on the line. And today there's about $3 trillion or more on the line right now. Well, it could be. It could be a good sign for a swing down, a swing back up, but just know you're at the options expiration. So all these people who are going to make money off of these options expiration will most likely be taking profit, right? They're here to make money too. SPY just closed the 30-minute bars back in the range. Ooh, see, that's it taking it back. All right, so SPY taking it back now. And you're kind of at a time where it's like we could either see a big drop, or what if stocks just start to actually, we get breadth in the market, right? It hit 211 this morning. Dang, big lots going insane. What are these guys doing? These guys are just still just dying off, man. But like I said, if they really don't want them to look good, right? According to the T35, they do have to purchase shares unless, I mean, the SEC is already sending out false data, so I wouldn't be surprised for them to continue. There you go, 30. It's taking it back now, so now the put level is not very high, so that's interesting. I think lower high still looks likely here. Excuse me. Thank you for telling me that knowledge on the go. Appreciate it. Hey guys, I'm gonna use the restroom just real quick. I'll be right back. We're back! Aww. Everyone leaves when I go away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't leave me. Da 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 do da dee. Sad music. I'm all alone. Super emo stuff, you know? Oh god, what a good day. Everybody loves Fridays, right? We get the whole weekend. We could have some fun over the weekend. We could go to a pool. We could go to something else. That's pretty much all I can do. Because baby girl wouldn't even understand the zoo yet, and that just sounds like a pain for me, right? Can you make the GME and stock bounce right now, like go up right now? Yeah, let me see if I can. Here, I'll try to blow on it for a second. Aw, man. Aw, man. Triggered 2012 emo me. I set my wrist and blank my eyes. Set my wrist up. Oh, wait, what's a good emo song? See, I won't fall asleep tonight and die because you killed me. You know you do, you kill me well. That's a good one. Oh, if you like emo music, bro, look up if emo orchestra is coming to your city. It's Escape the Fate. Escape the Fate is doing emo orchestra, and me and my wife went. It was one of the most fun things I've ever been to, and I'm going to go every year. Last year, Hawthorne Heights led it. This year, it was Escape the Fate, and they just sing emo songs, and you just like straight up just emo it out with some emo people. And people are just wailing because they encourage you to like just sing the songs, and it's a smaller venue. It's very cool. He like came out into the crowd, was just like eating people's popcorn and taking pictures with people while singing. It was very, very cool. Go to Ultra Miami. Dude, Ultra looks like just a cesspool. When I was younger, I wanted to go to that, but like, if I went to anything like that, I better be rich as balls. Like, I'm not gonna sit in a crowd full of sweaty people. It's just not my thing anymore. My wife's a mosh pitter, but I'm not big on mosh pits, but of course she is. She's a little demon child, that woman, I tell you. Yeah, let's all go to a festival. What's the last one I went to? I think I went to like Decadence. Decadence was pretty cool. But no, none of that stuff for me anymore. My money will be better spent in other places, you know? Like maybe buying a lake house or something. That sounds better. Oh, let me turn on some tunage though. What's the NVIDIA's doing? Uh-oh. Oh, nope, didn't even cross up on a 15-minute. Nothing to worry about. Huge seller volume on the SPY in the last 3 minutes here. Ooh. Yeah, how much volume is really in this for the morning? It should be above 10 million at least. Yeah, 11.5 million. Ooh, just a retest though of the 5. Like you said, you know, you get above out here, you reconnect with the 5. This is where you really want to pay attention because this is the most basic type of pullback is you just oh, that's a 9. Damn it, that's a 9. If I change it to a 5, it's probably gonna be like a little bit closer. Ooh, yeah, so now you're seeing a little bit more dramatic. Usually you test the 5, so you're below the 5 here. But I like my 9 these days. We've been doing a 9, it's been some fun. So you just want to see, I mean, you need some confirmation of some kind of upside. I would say first 15 minute, that looks kind of flaggy here, doesn't it? Qs, they're trying to base out. Like Qs, you probably have a bunch of 5-minute divergences. Look at this. So if that starts to go positive, ooh, might be a good sign. We'll see. NVIDIA, you still have a 5-minute divergence here. That completed, but you're far away. So if this wants to, it could roll down one more time. No, you do, you give me well. Finally, some green on TSM. Jensen just sold his holdings. He thinks Stock's too high. Yeah, so they had the most like dramatic insider selling from the company itself in a long time. Someone was reporting on it yesterday. I read it and I just forgot what the reading was, but it said like we haven't seen this type of selling since like, you know, insider selling since 2008 or something like that. And in the stock they were talking about was NVIDIA. So, man, if the CEO of a company is selling his stock, I don't know if I'd be holding this thing for very long, but that's just my common sense kicking in. Good old Jensen with his fake revenues. They just have no way. They haven't monetized AI and whatsoever. So people are just jumping in. And guess what? They'll probably have earnings come out. It'll probably look great because they can just make it look great, right? Yeah, so we pointed out he was selling, actually, he was selling like pretty much right at the 1,000 mark. He was selling like right around here. This is when we really started to talk about it. We talked about it in the past too. He sold at like the 800 mark, then he sold again at the 1,000 mark. Yeah, oh, yeah, that's true too. So that's the thing. They're so, like, it's crazy that they're even priced, you know, market caps almost as higher or going higher than Microsoft, because they are like so dependent on Microsoft. Like, is it TSM? I'm pretty sure they're dependent on TSM too. Hey, there you go, Nathan. Good job. We like to see profit. Your daily expected moves made it happen. Hell yeah. TSMC, yeah, okay. Nice job, Nathan. Good win. We'll take those wins, you know what I'm saying? You take the dubs. We'll take those dubs. All right, I'm gonna play some tunage while I'm chilling. I'm gonna keep Apple's trying to gain some ground. The struggle bus, man. The struggle bus. I should go find that video, but pretty much there's just a bunch of tanks going through New Orleans. I don't know if it's even real though, is the problem. All right, let me pull up some tunage. What kind of tunes do I want to listen to? What kind of tunes, guys? Not big booty. You guys stop it with your big booties. Wanted to see. Oh, there you go. Listen to some chill Post Melons. It's more about what Wall Street says. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, hold on. I gotta like. My headphones have been so funky, dude. And they should not be funky. NVIDIA double bottom. I'd more so say like there's a 5-minute divergence here. This looked more like a double bottom to me. This, I wouldn't say double bottom. I'd just say slightly higher low. But you see the divergence across, kind of flat. You see this over here. So I think there will be like a 15-minute bounce, maybe even a 30-minute bounce, but that's what the momentum's telling me. I need that to confirm on a 15-minute. Outside of the party, smoking in the car with you. VIX says that we're getting a pullback right now on the hourly side. So technically volatility says it's about to subside a little bit, which could mean upside for the SPY. We'll see though. Everything's wonky. XLU flipping negative here. I still think like we see some kind of 15-minute bounce here, but we'll see. Ready to make a change. You coming around and fuck out all my brains. I ain't trying to fire fade, it's too late to shave face. Did I just say shave face? It said save face, but I accidentally said shave face, and I need to shave right now. Yeah, XLU does look like it's about to make its next move down. You see the 15-minute divergence here? 15-minute divergence, yeah, we're probably rolling over the 30 soon, and that thing can go negative fast. So if we start to see that difference between SPY and XLU, we've seen it over and over and over again, and eventually it will catch up. So we'll see. Maybe the SPY wants to catch up to it right now. We'll see. It's negative, but if that turns back around, boom, positivity can come in. So paying close attention. I just want to look at a 15-minute here for NVIDIA for a second. New bar, getting above the 9. If that can get back above this little 200 here, that'd be a good sign. So the volatility, you just don't want this to curl back up on a 15-minute. Funny way of trading, never look at candles. Never look at candles, just watch the media. Whatever they tell you not to buy, just watch Jim Cramer, watch Nancy Pelosi, you know? Do what Nancy Pelosi does, don't do what Jim Cramer does. I thought it was really funny, like Jim Cramer, I think it was like here, like literally at this high, he said like, make sure you're grabbing all the NVIDIA you can, and then it's sold off for like an hour, like immediately. I thought that was so funny. Hey man, trading without looking at candles at all? Dude, that's some creative stuff here. All right, let's see if we get this thing to cross up and recover a little bit. We'll see. So NVIDIA makes up, oh shoot, I had the numbers. NVIDIA makes up, it's about 30, I think it's 35%. I think NVIDIA's revenue makes up 35% of the revenue of the whole S&P 500. Which, there's no fucking way, like it just doesn't make sense that it does, because as far as AI goes, the reason it's going up is because of AI. There's no way that revenue is based on AI to consumers. Like it just doesn't make sense. I told that to my dad, and he was just like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, well, my friend who's really invested in NVIDIA, he's like, he's made like $1 million off NVIDIA." I was like, "Yeah, well, it probably will crash down eventually. It's pretty much Cisco from 2000." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him anything. He's being a douche." No, no, he didn't say that. But hey, we like our NVIDIA trade, man. Looked good. Now we got to say, hey, that's the target. So that's the options. That's the market maker's target. So that's our target, because that's the option maker's target. About it, well, I did. AI is scaling up way too fast, and I talked to my dad about that too. I was just like, the reason we're running into so many problems is because the stock market is a good representation of like everything going wrong in society. We're all scaling up way too fast, so we're running into all the same problems at the same time. So if you go to business school, one of the biggest reasons that a business fails, I said this on Twitter, so one of the biggest reasons a business fails is they scale up too fast, and then they run into too many problems that they can't handle, right? That's why scaling up slowly as a business is a better move than just scaling up really fast. What is NVIDIA doing? It's scaling up really fast, so they're probably about to run into a bunch of problems. And then you relate that to society, and you would say, why do we have so much problems with suicide, with smartphones and things like that? Well, we developed in smartphones too quickly because of the debt system. Save, we can look at that. Nothing, we're done. You told me think about it, well, I did. Nice. Nice lower high, or higher low here. Confirmation. I mean, daily momentum is still like with you here. It's just not positive yet. If you look back, it's never been to these low levels. Like, I understand from an investment perspective here. Trade perspective, trade perspective, you just have a 2 hour that's getting cooked. You might see a pullback, but I would understand someone being like, okay, this was the trade, right? This was the trade here for Spirit. Right here. You see these two lows? See how it's like a double bottom? You see the upward move on the MACD right here? Boom, there's your trigger. Awesome, goes above the moving average. Maybe you want to be safe. Okay, goes above the 9. Okay, awesome, go time. Now you see that upward move. Now you're running into a point where you could see a pullback. So if the 30-minute wants to, look at it, it's pulling back. Now it's still heading up, but it is pulling back. It's telling you it should be pulling back. So unless this confirms more upside, awesome. But if that pulls back, then you would say this is a better opportunity for more upside. It's like the same thing I'm doing with NVIDIA, just in the opposite direction. Oh, I'm in no way saying like NVIDIA's bad. I'm not saying NVIDIA's a bad company. I just think it's rigged to the upside. Like this is still around. This is still around. It's just priced correctly, right? This is still around. It still gets traded up and down. I'm just saying, like, that's a sign of sickness, right? That's when it's not it. And I'm saying NVIDIA is most likely going to do this and then stay around a certain price. And I think that price will be somewhere between $40 and $60. And I think it'll trade pretty much between, like, the initial push down will be bad. And then look, it trades back up. It's fine. It's still a fine company. I just don't think, I think it's scaled up way too fast and it's going to run into a bunch of problems. How high did this get on the MACD? Let's look at the reading here. 1391. Deathbed, buried in regret. So that was at 13. That one was at 13 on the MACD. This one's at 22. Like, I'm just saying, this thing could go all the way back down to like what? Like, if you want to talk worst case scenario, this thing could go down to like $3. I think this little area in here, this little box, like I could draw a box right now. I think that right there. Actually, let me go down a little bit more. Right there. I think that would make the most sense. Takes a lot of time to do that, though. No, busted. Yeah, Roma, that's the point, though. It's like, I'm going to give it to you how it is. I don't care if you're bullish on it, whatever. I'm just going to tell you how it is. I'm honest. Sorry. But if you go look at Cisco, it was worth all that amount, and it went down to like $10. NVIDIA, this could go down to like $3, and it would make sense. But I think that it still has enough good stuff in it, technologically wise. Like, it's still a good graphics cards are great. That's fantastic. As long as computers, as long as there's not a shutdown of like electricity, like some kind of thing like that, I think this zone right here is very, very good. For an investment in the future. We'll see. But do I ever think, so here's the thing. After it crashes down, inevitable to happen, by the way. We just don't know when. The bigger it goes, the bigger the drop. But when it does crash down, does it go ever back up to $140? Does it ever go back up to $1,000 from even right here? If it went up to $1,000, no, it's not going to do it. Oh, it will change society. I don't think it'll change society for the good. I think it'll change business in a lot of areas for the good, but it'll just take away a lot of jobs, and all you'll have is like maintenance people for AI. Trust me, at the end of the day, like AI is not a good thing. Like you won't be able to trust anything you see on the internet, which just might, the whole benefit to the internet was information, and now all of that information could be false or just written by AI, and you don't even know if it's true, right? So, like, look what they're getting to say because of AI with Joe Biden. Oh, that's a deep fake, whatever. That's a cheap fake, whatever the hell it is. Like now you can say that. That's not a good thing. In memory. No, but you're doing it too fast. That's the point. I agree with you, Dylan. Like when we went from horses to cars, the transition was slower, so infrastructure could keep up. Our transition from flip phones to smartphones was too fast. It was too fast. That's why we're running into social problems with it. All right, so the debt system causes us to go up dramatically way too fast. I'm saying AI should have come. Yes, AI would have come eventually, but it maybe would have taken another 300 years, and we would have been able to weasel out the problems throughout. Now that we're having AI right away, what? It's good for porn? Cool. That's it. Right now, and that's what everyone's probably using it for. Now, companies are probably using it for a lot of other things, but I can tell you right now that every single company that I need to talk to the help center is using AI, and it is the worst experience of my life. Hey, no, that's great, Dylan. I love it. Like, I respect AI. I'm just telling you the psychological side is we're moving up too fast because of a debt system. And I think AI should have come along years down the line, and we would be smarter with it in the future, right? Like cars. If you look at from horses to cars, we built infrastructure later on to fulfill the changing environment over time. But once you have a debt system that makes things grow exponentially faster, you'll notice that how fast did smartphones come? Pretty fast. And those developed even faster. Now we have EVs. How fast did everyone make EVs? It took like a couple years. Now, how fast did AI go up? How fast did AI get implemented into everything? Well, it took like a year? Like really? Maybe it was being worked on a little, but it's like everything's starting to ramp up too fast to where we're going to see problems. And that's a problem with weaponry. That's a problem with everything. Oh, and that's Sabrina, that's kind of the point too, is AI will just do your job for you. And if you think AI is doing your job for you now, wait till businesses just buy AI stuff that can do the job itself and they won't even need to employ you. So then who's going to buy AI products if there's nobody with jobs? Like, it's not a recipe for success. We're just doing it too fast. We haven't figured it out. I don't know. AI already has systems that can learn themselves. They can learn all by themselves, so kind of freaky. I still think it's great for business. You ask me if it's good for business, I'll say, hell yeah, it's great for business. In the long run, do I think it's good for society? No. Just like smartphones. You think smartphones are great for business? Great for consumers? Yeah, great. Is it good for society? No. It's proven to be bad for society. Look at what's going on in the world. All right. SPY starting to give it up again. Yeah, and they go together a little bit, Dylan, right? Because if we didn't have the system, then we wouldn't have AI right now. If we didn't have the system that we have right now, we might just now be getting the first iPhone, the first smartphone, right? And we would have been able to develop slower, and the stock market wouldn't look like this. But because we have the debt system, it's a problem. And eventually, we'll get too many problems at the same time, and we'll see something bad, things will even out, and then we'll start all over again if we keep the debt system. All right, let's see what's happening here. This is pretty controlled. Pretty controlled right now. Oof, that is not a good look, man. That looks like, to me, that looks like maybe more downsides coming, actually. But we'll see. We haven't rolled up on anything. So we have to say the direction is still down, by the way. Even with a little bounce. Maybe it needs a little 5-minute divergence or something like this. See the 5-minute little divergence here. NVIDIA trying to build back. Trying to build back. Crossed up, finally. There you go. If data is in demand, why not pay the people for the data? The tech companies can certainly afford to. Can they? Now, they can only afford to because of the debt system. Can they afford to based on revenue alone if you take all the debt away? I mean, let's just see. Let's just see. Let's do it. Let's do some research, right? Okay, so Apple, if they wanted to pay and say we don't have any more free money coming into them, let's just say they can't get any more loans. Well, currently, could they pay if they had to pay back those loans over time? How much debt do you think Apple has right now? How much do you think, like, Apple seems to be a very quote unquote profitable company, you would say, right? Because the stock's way up. So is it really up because of profit, or are they in debt right now? Do you think Apple's in debt or not? Yeah, Dylan, that's what I'm getting at. It's like all the stuff you're saying, we have too many problems going on for those things to happen unless we just pour more money into the system. They're over $100 billion in debt. What's another company? Let's just look if any of these companies are in debt. And Microsoft is in $80 billion worth of debt. Okay. Is NVIDIA in debt? Now you would say NVIDIA's debt at the end of April 2024 was lower. It was 11.23 billion. They've scaled up a lot since then. I wonder what their debt is now. We'll have to see. But it does not have a heavy debt load, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. AMD, not a lot of debt there. So AI stocks actually have a little bit less debt, it seems. Now, what's a stock that maybe has zero debt? Can anyone name a stock that has zero debt right now? Maybe a stock, what is there a stock that's maybe sitting on cash compared to all these companies? GameStop. Weirdly enough, GameStop's like one of the only ones that doesn't have debt. That's actually a very good thing. But now if they wanted to play the game, they could, use that $4 billion, go get a $4 billion loan and start to go into debt and start to grow. But micro strategy. Pretty low, 3.6 billion. We need updated numbers. That's from April. All these numbers are from April. We probably won't know till the next earnings. Very cool though. It's a crazy time to live. I don't like that they're putting AI in my phone. They can just record my voice, make me a whole person that's just doing whatever they want. I don't like that shit. Like, once you open the door for AI and you sign your rights away, it's like, oof, once they started putting your phone, you already signed your rights away without probably reading anything. So it's just like, oof. It just starts to get sketchy to me. I've told my wife before, I'm like, I really want to switch to a flip phone. Or get like a home phone. And that's crazy, but... Because from a privacy perspective, it's like, with AI everywhere, you have no privacy. You have Big Brother. That's what you have. All right, let's see if there's any setups. Let's go through these, because Luke might have to hop off soon. Let's look on the 30-minute. We're still waiting for the SPY or for NVIDIA to cross up. Let's start with the SPY. SPY, we got to see if this thing's able to build back, right? We got to see if this thing can curl up. If that curls up, hey, we could test the high, we go make a new one, but also since we're negative, we could make a lower high. We'll pay attention to that going forward. The Qs holding up pretty good. So the Qs, if they turn up, this is held up pretty well. I think they do maybe go make a new high here, at least test the previous one. We'll see. Apple, looking forward. This did curl up on a 30-minute, but it's not doing the best, but it did curl up. So if that goes positive, good sign for Apple. We dipped down pretty good here, so watch out for a... I need to get my little brush up. Watch out for that lower high, right? Watch out for that lower high, okay? We'll pay attention to that. Just want to see if that's curling up, curling back, going negative. All right, Tesla, same thing, right? Pretty negative here, still negative. So you got to be aware of some kind of retest to go down. We'll pay attention to that as well. Amazon, we're just looking at 30-minute charts to see Amazon going up to a level that would make sense to want to get some kind of pullback. I would overall just say pullback for Amazon looks likely in this scenario. That's what I would say as far as the 30-minute. Very, very good, very positive move. Great double bottom down here. Just fantastic for Amazon there. The NVIDIA here, we want to see if this 30-minute can start to cross back up. That would be a good sign. NVIDIA, it's been rigged to the upside for a long time. Who's to say? It could come test this high, go make a new one, but you're pretty deep into negative territory, so you have to be aware if this thing just curls over at any time. If we just curl up, curl right back down, yeah, that might be a higher up liquidity grab to head lower. We'll pay attention to it. As of right now, it looks like we're getting some kind of bounce. We'll see what comes. AMD, this one here, you have to say it's just a pullback at this moment. It's just a pullback. Nothing really too bad here. You just want to see if that can get a little closer to the center line, maybe start to turn back up, see a positive move from AMD. Meta, this one actually falling down. Now it's creating divergence. Weirdly enough, Meta creating divergence right here, okay? Now, what was Meta's daily expected move, since this looks like a possible setup? Somewhere around 492. Did we go down to 492? No, we got to go a little bit lower to that move. But if this divergence would complete, you got a chance to roll around the 2-hour chart here. 2 hours right by the center line. So another positive move could be coming for Meta if it wants to turn around, right? It has to turn around in price, has to tell us a reason to take the trade. That's very important. Microsoft, this one here, see how we're getting the lower high? This is what I'm talking about. I think we have an opportunity where we see some things start to get lower highs, and that's what it looks from Microsoft right now. Doesn't mean it has to, right? It means we could go a little bit higher, but we want to watch out for any divergences we see up here at the end of the day. Google just screaming higher. We really want to see a pullback here at this point in order to head higher. This would, I don't want to FOMO into anything, even on a 30-minute chart. I just really don't want to FOMO into anything right now. You see, when we get up in these levels, what do we see? We see a pullback, we see a sell-off, we see a pullback, we see a sell-off, and then up here, what are we going to see? Well, we could see some divergences like over here, but right now you would say, hey, we're getting a breakout, good sign, pullback would be nice to head higher. Netflix, this one here, hey, it's down by the center line. If that wants to curl up, that'd be a good sign, right? We want to curl up by that center line. This is a pullback. This is a pullback right now on the 30-minute. Boom, curls up, positive territory is there. Pay attention to your 2-hour charts as well, but from here, you just want to see if that's rolling over at any time with some kind of divergence, I would say, for Netflix. Let's go over to AMC. AMC, what do we notice here? Well, we're creating another point of divergence here. Very interesting that this isn't breaking down dramatically. You know, if this really is something that is a terrible, terrible company, then it really should just break down. Like, if it's a terrible company, retail's not as dumb as you think. If it was a terrible company, if this if the short seller situation wasn't there, then people would not be convinced of this. People are not dumb. Retail is not as dumb as you think. And so what do we see here? Well, another point of divergence trying to form here. We see a bunch of those points right here on the MACD and the RSI at the same time. So we'll pay attention, but the main thing here is yak and cross up needs to go positive. It really needs to go positive. GME trying to go positive, holding up well. But if this starts to roll over at any time, you have to say downside is the most likely scenario. Okay, so if GameStop rolls over, boom, downside is the most likely scenario because you're negative territory. Now you can go create a point of divergence. Maybe you want to see a breakout after actually showing that momentum kind of fizzling out to the downside. Now, the reason we could start to see some kind of bounce in the market is just because the 30 minutes pulling back for volatility that has rolled over an hourly chart if this bar completes in the next 30 minutes. And that would lead us to believe, hey, the SPY could roll up and volatility could roll down, and that makes sense, right? It makes sense. Now the dollar here, the reason to pay attention right now, you got a bunch of little divergences in here on an hourly chart. This could lead to the dollar dropping off. If the dollar drops off, most likely scenario is that'll start off as insider buying, and then once it drops off more, that'll be the stock market actually seeing a bounce. We'll see if that actually happens though. All of these things have to actually confirm. We're seeing the put-call ratio just start to go up a little bit. Now it's at 0.91. You probably need that up towards 0.95 or 1 in order to really see a rigged move. That's what I would say. So we're just paying attention. See if these 30 minutes can really curl up today, and maybe that means some positivity going throughout the rest of the day. First thing you got to do is roll up these 15 minutes. And I would say this guy really has to gain some steam, starting to roll up the 15 minutes. So that might be a signal to pay attention to here. Ooh. Dell, we can look at Dell real quick. It's Friday. I like to spend Friday with my gals. Okay, so Dell, once again, kind of looking like NVIDIA, doesn't it? So Dell, seeing that cross up on a 15-minute, that's great and all, but you're still a little bit far away from the center line, just like NVIDIA is. So in order to see positivity, you really got to get across that center line, right? We got to get across that center line. Once you get across that center line, you're probably curling up a 30-minute. 30-minute is right by the center line. So that would be a great signal for positivity for Dell. I'm going to be careful holding things over the weekend, though. I'm not going to be holding anything long over any weekend here on out. So most likely I will be selling out of any kind of long position I have, which right now I actually have no long positions. So the one long position I'm thinking about is TLT for an investment again, just because the monthly did turn up and the weekly had this lower, higher low. And so this would be an opportunity maybe for TLT to start to say, yeah, there's a chance for this to head up. I was waiting for a little pullback. Hey, I got that pullback. Maybe I need a little bit longer pullback on the daily and see that curl down, right? See that curl down a little bit, curl right back up. That's when I'm really thinking about putting some money into this. So I'm talking about it, but I'm thinking about it. But overall, I'm just being patient all around, just making sure things are playing out how I see them playing out in one of my scenarios, and I'm trading like water. You guys saw with my NVIDIA play, I'm already out of it. I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just trying to make a profit. That's it. Yeah, everyone talking about Spirit Airlines. I just think that this was like an investment type thing, right? You had the higher low. You have the higher low right here saying, hey, yeah, upside. You're below the 200, so you can't really swing trade this. I'm saying investment because, like, if you just look back, you're like, what's happening with the stock? Well, not the best stuff, right? But you're going down to levels where they would tell you this is a terrible investment when really when they tell you it's a terrible investment, it's like, hey, you just want to see. You want to see because all that monthly has to do is turn up for a few months and then boom, that thing's positive. And we know positive things happen when things curl up, right? This curled up right here. Well, actually, we closed above the 9 right here, but we curled up right here. Boom, positivity. So positive things can still happen. What do we notice right here? Positivity, okay? Even right here, just a little bit of positivity. You got to be careful with it, but as of right now, you're beating way down. So I would more so say like something like this could happen. And what you want to see is if that's actually confirming, because you do have divergence down here. So just pay attention. Weekly scale, we do not really have divergence here though, so you have to pay attention to that. We did curl up. We'll see if that can go positive. I gotta sneeze. Anyway, guys, it's Friday, and I really like to touch grass on Friday, so I think I'm going to hop off for the day. But just to let you guys know, there is still that course for the weekend if you want to learn a little bit. $100 for the course for the rest of June. That's coming to an end soon, so just pay attention. If volatility starts to go up, it's a great thing to have, that strategy. But it's just a great thing for any market, right? To understand the MACD, understand RSI, understand divergences, understand the weekly ranges. We go through all of it. And we'll even teach you how to manage the trades based on whatever chart you're looking at, right? And we do things based on a 30-minute, a 2-hour, and a daily chart around here for the most part. And we're going to add investing to that once I get some time to make that video. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Thank you for liking, subscribing, talking about AI. It was a lot of fun, Dylan and everyone in here. It was a lot of fun talking about AI. Great for business. I don't know if it'll be good for society. We'll see how that turns out, right? But we'll see if NVIDIA is going to have a Cisco moment. We'll find out. But till then, you have to just sit and be patient. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to leave you guys on NVIDIA for a little bit here while you guys wait, right? I'll leave you guys on NVIDIA for the 15 minutes, see if we get that positivity going. See you guys. Have a good one. Peace. All right, I saw NVIDIA was going up, so I'm going to switch it to a 30-minute. You guys got to see if that 30-minute crosses now, you know? There you go. Here you go, here you go, here you go. I'll leave you on there for a little bit. If that 30-minute gains some ground, we'll see some. All right, see you guys.